things forward here in the great riding of Carleton. Thank you to my fellow caucus members, including Leader Aaron O'Toole, for having the courage to step up to the plate once more. Thank you to my friends and my family, including my brother, mother, and father who are in Calgary, our daughter Valentina, and of course, my courageous wife Anaida, who not only held down the job, supported my campaign, but also gave birth to our beautiful baby boy just 1 week ago. And I think you'll all agree that she looks just great, doesn't she? And speaking of baby Cruz, he wasn't due to come until tomorrow. And he decided to come 8 days early. He wanted to be here just in time for the election, and then they told him he had to wait 18 more years to vote. Typical red tape. Anyway, he is happy, healthy, and not far away, but couldn't join us this evening and is taking in the results by himself with a bottle of warm milk, and he is going to be a great citizen of Carleton and patriotic Canadian as the days go by. And finally, thank you to Carleton. Thank you for electing me undefeated in 7 consecutive elections. 17 years ago, this community took a risk on a 25-year-old kid with a funny last name that no one could pronounce, but enough of them knew how to put an X beside it in order to make me their MP. And ever since, it has been the privilege of my life to serve the people in this community. And throughout this campaign, it has been an incredible experience to reconnect with the people of my riding. I remember meeting an immigrant from Cuba who, throughout our brief conversation about the community on her doorstep, burst into tears. And I asked her what was wrong. She said, nothing. I'm so happy because in the country I come from, someone from the government would never come and visit a person like me. Here in Canada, so where I come from, we had to go to the government to beg for things that they had taken away from us. Here in Canada, the politicians go to the people. The org chart is flipped on its head. The politician is the servant, and the people are the masters. That is a lesson I will never forget. Or there was the couple living in a trailer park just off of Bank Street, making $100,000 between them, working at a local quarry, but who say they will never be able to escape renting because the cost of housing is absolutely out of reach. No matter how hard they work, they can't seem to save enough to fulfill the Canadian dream. Here in Canada, a country where we have 33 football fields for every single person, if evenly spread out, and we can't find enough space to affordably house our people. The people of this country deserve the chance, through their own hard work, to own a home, and I'm going to fight for that right every day on the floor of the House of Commons. And that is actually how we run here in Carleton. We run by standing up for true blue conservative values, by believing in the principles that elected us in the first place, the principles upon which the country was built. They're pretty simple and pretty direct. Paychecks, not government checks. Work instead of welfare. Freedom instead of force. Building it in Canada rather than borrowing from the world to buy exclusively from China. Free enterprise instead of state control. Hard work instead of entitlement. Entrepreneurship instead of red tape and bureaucracy. Those are the values that made this country what it is. They are the values that bring 300,000 people to the shores of this country every single year. And most important of all our values, the value of freedom. Now, we've gone through a terrible crisis, a true medical crisis across the country and around the world. And it is simultaneously possible to acknowledge that that has been a real and genuine threat to the health of everyday people, while pointing out that certain politicians have taken advantage of the crisis to build up their own power at the expense of people's freedoms. And that is why I believe the cause of our time will be defending those freedoms, defending the freedom of expression, so that Justin Trudeau and his government cannot impose censorship on what we see and say online. That is a freedom for which I will fight. The freedom to choose how you'll raise your own children rather than having a government take away your money and dictate and impose upon you a daycare system that may not fit your values or the interests of your kids. The economic freedom to choose how you spend the hard-earned money that you brought in through your own labor and through your own sacrifice. These freedoms have been hard-won by so many. They're the freedoms for which so many flee from faraway lands to come to this one. They're the reasons I got into politics, and it is these freedoms for which I will fight on the floor of the House of Commons, again, thanks to your re-electing me. And to quote another proud Western Canadian, John Diefenbaker, in the words that he wrote on the Bill of Rights, he said, "I am a Canadian, a free Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, free to choose those who shall govern my country. I pledge to defend and uphold these freedoms for myself and for all of humankind." Thank you very much.